Hello, what is up, everybody? So, past weekend on the Sunday, the 10th of January, was the first of Bike Rush's tournament series. So, Bike Rush, sponsored by Gazarius, is hosting a massive CNC Rivals World Championship 2021 series. The first tournament was on Sunday. I'm not going to spoil who won yet if you haven't seen it. But yeah, he's going to be doing one a month, and the finals of this one were pretty great. So I thought what I would do is do like a post-game analysis where we look over the games from the finals and really like do a deep dive, do like a big analysis of the finals games. I thought this would be really interesting. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I did. And yeah, let's get straight into it. There will be a link to Bike Rush's Discord in the description of this video. And if you want more information on the tournament, I highly recommend you go and check out his Discord. All right, let's get to it, guys. The first game was on Canal Row, which I don't know, like Bike Rush just decided at some point. I don't know when he decided. I don't know if this was like I don't think it was given information that it was going to be on Canal Row. I think Bike Rush decided at some point. But yeah, so the first game was on Canal Row. Both players did know it was on Canal Row. Alicia chose to play like this sort of weird double air triple War Factory Nod deck, but it's basically similar to decks she's always played, except that she's got Catship and Shade instead of Inferno Phantom, and she's playing this Stealth Tank instead of Scorpion. Agent is playing literally just his standard deck, which he plays like 99% of the time. So if you look at this matchup, Alicia has only Stealth Tank and Bikes that shoot up, and Agent has Shade, which seems like an issue, right? Because like it's on Canal Row as well, where air is very heavily favored because of the mobility. So you've got to assume that in the first game, Agent is favored because he's got the Shades and Alicia doesn't have good answer to Shade. And he wins the initial fight in the Bike Mirror as well, so Alicia is the first to go Shade. And she gets incredibly aggressive with it, which is fair enough because it has EMP, but it does take a bit of a beating. Shade only takes like 6 Bike Missiles to kill, so if you take 3 Bike Missiles, your Shade is half dead. So actually, if you can, it's kind of like Orca in that regard. If you can shoot a Shade each time it comes in, you'll end up ahead. And then here, Agent was clearly trying to save his last missile for the Shade, but then didn't have a choice but to kill the Bike. So he runs the Stank away, and then leaves it here to defend. Alicia, I don't know what she was thinking with that Shade, moving it across. Maybe she was hoping the Stealth Tank hadn't reloaded yet, I'm not sure. And then Alicia is very much trying to keep Agent off of the 3-man bike squads. So she put all of the bikes to 1. And this, again, this is a classic, like, issue with Shades, is they don't actually fully one-shot things. So although they're a super strong unit, the fact it doesn't kill off these bike squads, it ends up being an advantage at first, but then when the Stealth Tank comes back in, it ends up being a disadvantage. Because now she can't get back on this pad. This Shade is a little bit too late. And Agent has lasers. This is like super important. The fact that Agent has lasers and Alicia doesn't. Like, right now, they're not going to be a big deal because the Fanatics are going to come out and clean them up. But Fanatics don't have good mobility on Canal Row. It is difficult to get Fanatics through these stupid choke points. So yeah, you don't often have Fanatics hanging out in the middle of the map. Because it's like, normally a Fanatic mirror comes down to having a wall of Fanatics. But on this map, there's too many choke points. So you can't make a decent line of Fanatics to front line. Agent goes and kills the Harvester. He doesn't really care about the money. He's got like 300 Tiberium. But what he cares about is just reducing Alicia's income, because Alicia's a little bit broke right now. He doesn't know that for sure, but given that his first missile she was throwing 60 cost units at the pads, you can get a read that she's probably a little bit low on cash. Generally speaking, like, because both players are going to be throwing these Shades towards the middle of the pads over and over, if you can get infantry onto the pads, you're going to be advantaged, because removing the infantry is going to be difficult to do with your fast flying unit. Alicia has Catship, so she's favored on that side of things, but right now she's the one with the infantry in the middle. So Agent doesn't really have a way to answer these Fanatics, so he just plants a Shade and like has it sit there and fight the Fanatics slowly over time. This like Shade spamming the middle of the map ends up being a pretty common factor of the game, because both players have such bad answers to Shades, and Shade is so good in Nod Mirror. Like, you see Alicia goes double Stealth Tank here, which is medium insane. This one comes in and cleans this up, and then she leapfrogs the bikes forwards whilst this stealth tank takes up position on the back pad. The reason she wants to have a stealth tank on the back pad is a Shade can't fly over and take it. You can fly a Shade over to a pad that has a bike squadron on it, take a hit, don't care, whatever. But a Shade will not kill the stealth tank and then will die to it. So she wants a stealth tank on the back pad. And then again, we've got this situation where both players just have a middle pad Shade, basically, and you have to send a stealth tank to kill it, because the stealth tank's the thing that tanks the Shade. And like, Agent has laser, but Alicia doesn't, so she has no choice but to keep throwing vehicles at Shades, and Agent just keeps making a million Shades, because Alicia has no good answers to them. And once you get down to it, like, if she's in good control of the map and has like some idling stealth tanks, or can make more stealth tanks, this isn't that big a deal. But as we get down to this final missile, both players are throwing such expensive units at the middle. Alicia is throwing 60 and 100 cost, and Agent is throwing 60 and 100 cost. Like, no one's making use of their cheap units anymore. The fact that Agent had that huge float now comes into play massively, because he can afford to keep doing this and Alicia can't. Like, she can't make stealth tanks anymore, which is what she needs to be making here. Agent, on the other hand, can keep making the Shades and stealth tanks, and you can see that he's starting to take over the game. The middle pad is literally Shade, Shade, Shade stealth tank at this point, which is so insane. Like, he literally has 3 Shades in the middle, and Alicia has no choice. She can't make a laser and bring it over because she doesn't have one. She can't make a Phantom because she doesn't have one. Her only option is to make bikes and stealth tanks, and she can't make stealth tanks anymore because she's out of money. So she can only make bikes. And eventually, Agent just gets to bring in a million stealth tanks, and Alicia's inability to fight these units with a hard counter ends up killing her, and that's why Agent wins this first game. Like, it's a close enough matchup that not having anything that hard counters the Shades really ends up hurting her. Alright, so I believe the way it worked was, because it was winner's bracket, Alicia was 1-0 up in a best of 7. So Agent needs to win 4 games, Alicia only needs to win 3, or it was a best of 5. I'm pretty sure it was a best of 7 where Alicia started 1-0 up. So game 2, Alicia lost game 1, she gets to pick a map. That was the rule for the finals, was loser picks. So Alicia picked open water. Now this one is interesting, because earlier in the tournament, in the winner's bracket finals, Alicia played a sniper deck and beat Agent playing his Fnatic deck. I'm pretty sure that happened. I didn't see all of the games earlier in the tournament. I was also playing the tournament, so I didn't watch all of them. But I'm pretty sure she played a deck similar to this. She played a sniper deck, and she beat Agent playing Fanatics. So it's possible that Agent predicted snipers on open water, because he plays the Fnatic deck so often. So he decided to switch it up and play a flame tank. He is playing triple air Nod, which gives him good game in a Nod mirror as well. So if he's thinking, well, if she plays Nod, I'll be triple Nod and then I'm good in the mirror. And then if she's playing GDI, I have this flame tank deck to beat up on the snipers. This is a weird matchup though, and like if you do end up in a triple Nod air mirror, which is possible, unlikely on open water, but it's possible, you are going to be unfavored by having a random flame tank that doesn't really fight in the air mirror. Whereas like a person who has bikes are going to be a big support in a triple Nod air mirror. So obviously open water, really good map for snipers. There's a whole starting fight. You see how Alicia is like struggling because the missiles do actually die to the militants slowly. Where this is why most people play dogs with snipers, because dogs are such a good front line. If these were not rifles, if these were if these were flamers or fanatics or chems, you can grind through a front line of missiles and just get to the snipers. Because missiles die to the anti-infantry units reasonably quickly. So this is why people usually play dogs as a front line instead. Alicia probably thought it would just be Fnatic deck, so she probably thought she can use pit bulls and it'll be fine, I don't know. But anyway, she's winning in the early game, which makes sense. She has pit bulls, which are really good against this deck. Like, this deck has no hard counter to pit bull. And she's on open water, which is one of the best sniper maps. Interestingly enough, the Venom is better than the cat ship against pit bulls, because the Venom does more damage. Like, a cat ship takes 2 shots to kill a pit bull. The amount of time it takes, I don't know how many shots it is from a Venom, but it fires much quicker, so it'll kill a pit bull that has been hit by a Shade a lot quicker than a cat ship will. So the Venom actually ends up being better, and it's cheaper. And Venom's pretty good against infantry anyway. Like, cat ship has a lot of things that make it super strong, but If you're just fighting infantry all the time, Venom does a pretty good job. If you're not fighting heavy infantry, if you fight like mutants, then you're better off with Catship or Chems, but Venom does a good job versus light infantry like snipers and missiles. So anyway, Alicia has pit bulls, she has snipers, she's pretty favored at the start of this game. Obviously snipers are not great in the metagame. You can see how even with snipers, Alicia has been struggling a little bit even against Agent's infantry, even though she has snipers on one of the best sniper maps. But she has pit bulls, and pit bulls crush Agent's deck in the early game. Like, Agent's deck is very bad against Pitbull, because these units don't... None of these 5 units... Well, Laser beats Pitbull 1v1, but that's it. Everything else loses to Pitbull, and you can use snipers to ward off lasers, which is exactly what Alicia does. So anyway, we move into Missile 2. Now, the first missile was incredibly long, which Agent is very happy about, because he has a flame tank in his deck. The later the game goes, the more the Tiberium ramps up. Like, 230 is when you hit maximum Tiberium ramp. He can easily make flame tank on 1 harvester, once you get past like 2 minutes 30. You see now he's already built his tech lab. He's pretty close to the... if you watch the Tiberium as it goes up, if you hit 230, you'll see it starts going up faster. And once you hit that point, even 1 half can easily afford flame tanks. You see here, it'll start going up faster. There it is. So it starts going up a little bit faster. You can easily make flame tanks on 1 half. Now you can see Alicia is commanding position at the moment because his deck, Agent's deck, can't beat this combination of Pitbull, tank, sniper. It's not really a thing he can beat, but he has flame tanks in his deck. Once the flame tank comes out, it shuts down all of the infantry so quickly that it gets him back in the game. You can see how close this is. If this flame tank hasn't come out, this game is obviously over. Like, Alicia had complete dominance of the map. The flame tank came out and won him back 2 pads instantly. And there's a boosted Predator coming, but Agent has Shade. This play I thought was a little risky to move the Shade over here, because Alicia's clearly going to control all 3 pads pretty soon. Like, she's got a Predator on the middle that's going to beat your flame tank. And these double lasers, they're going to kill this drone swarm, but like she's going to at least contest it for a while. Which means there's a chance for the flame tank to go down and maybe for the Shade to go down. But he hasn't seen Hammerhead until now. So he probably doesn't know she has a unit that can kill Shade very quickly. So I think the play makes sense if he doesn't know about the Hammerhead, which he shouldn't at this point because he hasn't seen one yet. And it's a weird deck. Like, Alicia's deck is weird. You probably wouldn't see this on ladder very often. Like, it has to open missiles, which I think is weak. So yeah, he probably doesn't expect Hammerhead. Maybe he expects it a little bit, but it's unclear. Anyway, if we watch this as slow-mo, you see how quickly Shade goes down in like 3 shots. I think this is actually a huge misplay from Alicia, because she clearly mismicroed here. She has a Harvester holding this pad. She's bringing the Hammerhead across, probably with the intent of having it closer to this pad after it finishes off the Shade. But I think since you have a Harvester here, which isn't going to die, and you have a Predator here, which isn't going to die, if you just kill this Shade, you guarantee safety of the pads. Like, the Flame Tank would have to move across, and something would have to move across to this pad to contest again, which is very unlikely for Agent to be able to do. So it's actually better just to kill this Shade as quickly as possible, because also this Drone Swarm is about to die. Like, this Drone Swarm isn't going to last long, it's already dead. So look how close this missile comes. And this Harvester was already contesting. She doesn't need the Hammerhead contesting as well. And look how close this is. You see? There the missile fires. Now, you see how the Shade dies immediately afterwards. And Alicia still has control of the middle pad and control of the right pad. But the missile is fired now, so it's too late. If she had just killed the Shade, the Harvester would have contested the pad, and this missile would not have fired. And if this missile doesn't fire here, this Predator is going to kill this Flame Tank. That is going to happen 100% of the time here. And then Alicia could make snipers. She has enough money. She doesn't need this Harvester harvesting. She can have this idle. Agent can't do that. Agent needs his income. He's broke. He has 70 Tiberium. He needs to still be harvesting. So if she just killed this, then moved the Hammerhead across to here, made snipers to follow up behind the Predator, the lasers will start working on the Hammerhead. Maybe you don't even send the Hammerhead across. Maybe you just chill. Maybe you leave the Predator here. It fights the lasers for a little bit, but it lasts long enough for the snipers to arrive. And then Alicia has a really good chance of just winning the game on the spot. But because she didn't kill the Shade right away, and you know, it's an intense game, there's a lot going on, it's probably just a mistake. Like, she probably didn't want to send the Hammerhead here, or maybe it was just a small lapse in judgment. Maybe she thought the Hammerhead can get here and kill the Shade in time. And it was super close, so that's fair enough. You know, you can understand why she would think that. But it does end up costing her a lot, because now we're playing a third missile against a deck with tech units. And killing a Flame Tank is not easy. Like, Flame Tank is super beefy. Flame Tank is one of the strongest... Like, Flame Tank has the highest DPS of any unit in the game. It's like 50% more DPS than Rockworm, which is number 2. Now, obviously, that's its DPS against infantry, not against everything. But you can even see here, it's annihilating this Pitbull. Like, it crushes Pitbull. It doesn't have a hard time with a single Pitbull. You need multiple Pitbulls or Predator to take this thing down. And now you see, Agent has managed to regain control of the map. Because we're in this endgame Tiberium, you make a ton of money. Like, if we remember at the end of Missile 2, he had 70 Tib. And, like, a Flame Tank and 2 lasers and a Shade, and that was it. And he had 70 Tiberium. And now we're, like, what, 3/4 of a missile later? And he's built himself another Flame Tank and a Phantom, which is 190, and he has 110 in the bank. So he's made a load of money. He's got loads of money now. Now, Alicia now has to deal with this Flame Tank because there's a bunch of lasers that she can't kill lasers with snipers because the Flame Tank will kill the snipers. And she can't use Drone Swarm because there's 2 lasers together and Drone Swarm loses on offense anyway. So Drone Swarms won't even kill these. So she needs these snipers. She needs to get rid of this Flame Tank. But now it's super close to the missile firing and we haven't got that long. So she has to boost this Predator just to get it here. And Agent's already waiting with the Obelisk. And then the Obelisk fires, 1 Predator down. Alicia has no choice but to send another Predator in. She has to contest this pad. Obviously dies instantly to the Obelisk. She even sends the Harvester in. This is a really, really good play by Alicia because she doesn't have time to go Harvest anymore. She needs to win the game now at the end of the game. And Harvester tanks Obelisk really well. It's one of the best things at tanking Obelisk. They reduce Obelisk damage to Harvester. You see there it does basically nothing. But she's really far behind and she has no money. What she needs here is Pitbull spam. But she has no money to Pitbull spam. She needs to make like 2 Pitbulls. Like, this needs to be a Pitbull now. But she doesn't have the money for it. And then this Flame Tank comes in. Like, this plus the Obelisk is going to kill this Harvester. The only way she wins this game is if she could make like 3 Pitbulls in a row here. But she has 30 Tib. If she had 120 Tib right now, I think Alicia wins this game. Because Agent's Harvester is moving as well. So he's broke. I think if Alicia... See, she had to go missiles because she just can't afford Pitbull. And I think if this is a Pitbull, and then there's another Pitbull immediately following it, and then another Pitbull immediately following it, she wins this game. But she doesn't have the money to do that. So she can't, like, a Pitbull would come in, it would take hits from this, but it wouldn't die. And it would start killing it. And then another Pitbull would come in, this would be dead. The first Pitbull would die to the Flame Tank, but the second one could contest it. The third Pitbull would come in, Phantom goes down as well. I think Alicia has a really good chance of winning this game. But really, like, the Hammerhead play here is what kills her. Because she should have had the game on second missile. But once you get to third missile against a Kayn Tech Splash deck, you're pretty dead. Alright, so here's the third game. Now, Alicia lost second game, so she's picked a map again. She has chosen Rorschach, which is, I mean, like, it makes it... At this point, you can get a clear feeling for what kind of maps Alicia prefers. Because she has picked 2 maps. She's picked basically maps that are exactly the same. She's done Open Water, and then she's done Rorschach. That's like the inverse of Open Water. It's slightly more open than Open Water, so that probably leads into... She probably doesn't like the fact that Open Water was so closed off. She's probably annoyed about how it went. The Harvesters moving around cost her a lot of money as well. So she's probably like wants to play a map where her Harvester is going to require less action. Or maybe she just was like, I don't want to pick Open Water again. I'm going to pick the same map but upside down. Anyway, you get a clear feeling of what kind of decks, what kind of maps Alicia likes that she picked Open Water into Rorschach. So anyway, decks. Alicia has decided to play the same deck that Agent plays. This is Agent's deck. She just plays Kayn with it. Agent plays Oksana. I actually think Oksana is not very good in Agent's deck. I know I'm probably wrong because he's better than I am and he always plays Oksana. So maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm wrong and Oksana is really good, but I personally feel like Oksana is actually a pretty weak choice. I don't think it really does much for the deck. The reason to play Oksana, the deck originated when Razorback was super popular, and Oksana made it very easy to kill fast Razorbacks with double boosted stealth tanks. And that's when Oksana made sense in this deck, I think. But since Razorback is not that big a part of the metagame anymore, and it's easy to hunt them down even without Oksana, I don't think the Oksana adds that much to the deck. But Agent has been playing it forever. He's the best at the deck. Except maybe Alicia, like, you know, it's hard to say which of those is actually a better player. So anyway, maybe he's wrong and I'm right, I don't know. But I don't really like Oksana in this deck. So, I didn't really talk about the initial fights, but basically they had a bit of a bike mirror. Alicia went lasers, Agent went fanatics, Alicia went fanatics. It's kind of standard. I think the player who goes laser first is unfavored. I think you want fanatics on the board as quickly as possible. So going laser just gives your opponent a chance to make fanatics for value. So I think you are unfavored. And I think if you look at the board state right now, you can see Agent is slightly ahead. Although Alicia does have a stealth tank. She does have the most expensive unit on the field. If you actually count up the costs, this is 120. And this is 130, 140. Maybe count this as 10, 150. So Alicia is slightly ahead in terms of cost. But Stealth Tank is not even that good against bikes. Like, obviously it one-shots them. But it costs 100, and it kills one bike every, like, 12 seconds. Like, one bike squadron every 12 seconds, which is not that impressive. So if we watch how this goes, I think Agent should be slightly ahead here. I think the Stealth Tank isn't even that good. You see this little dance here Agent did? This is like a very easy thing to ignore, but actually was quite important. Like, these wheels were doing damage to the Fanatics, and he's just dancing them in and out slightly to reduce the amount of damage the wheels do without losing control of this tile. Alicia ends up moving the wheels back to block because these bikes come around the top to kill her bikes, which she has to do. If these bikes get on the pad, she's not winning this missile. Like, Agent will have all 3 pads. She has nothing that kills bikes apart from this Stealth Tank. It isn't going to reload in time. She'll definitely lose the missile if she doesn't block out these bikes, so she has to do that. Also, this dance does hurt Agent a tiny bit because it means Alicia's Fanatics come in and they're not being shot as they approach. So you see, these will now win this fight easily. You see, it's still 3 models. So now Agent has to move bikes in. He can't move Fanatics in because they'll just get mown down. So he moves bikes in to tank. But he does have to kill these Fanatics, and he just went for another bike squadron. I think this was probably a misplay. I think this bike squadron should have been a wheel or a Fanatic, something that kills the Fanatics. But, you know, I digress. He's better than I am at the game, but I do believe that was a mistake. So anyway, these Fanatics come in, but he uses this bike to tank these Fanatics, which is actually a pretty important play, because it means these guys aren't taking damage from both Fanatics. And if Alicia isn't paying attention and doesn't retarget, these Fanatics do a pretty good job. But she is, of course, Alicia. She's paying attention. She slaughters them. She tries to get the block, doesn't get it. Agent blocks it. Again, you see he's dancing in and out. He's trying to hold the tile. Wheels come in. This, I think, is what he meant to do when he built the bikes, or, you know, at least that's what was clearly his game plan going in. So he starts killing the Fanatics. Alicia still has this Stealth Tank. He can come in and one-shot these guys. So even now, if you look at it in terms of economy, the Stealth Tank has killed 60 cost of bikes. And it cost 100. Maybe it might have killed the 2 bikes up here, which is like 80 cost. But the Stealth Tank isn't really about the cost factor. It's about the impact factor. It's about the fact that it just one-shots a whole bike squadron, which means that Agent has less on the field right now because one of the squadrons is gone. That's kind of what the Stealth Tank is about. So she's not getting value out of it per se, but she's getting tempo out of it. Every time it fires, she gets tempo. And near the end of a missile, tempo is way more important than value. Like, if you have 1,000 Tiberium but you lose the missile, it doesn't matter how much Tiberium you had. Having 0 Tiberium and winning the missile is better than having 1,000 Tiberium and losing the game. So she's looking for tempo rather than value. This Stealth Tank is also getting close to having enough value now. But now we get to a point where it's useless. She actually sacks it off there, because she doesn't want a 1-hit point Stealth Tank that's reloading. And here comes an Obelisk. This is a really well-timed Obelisk, sort of. So it's well-timed in one part and badly timed in another. It's well-timed in that she popped it just before the Fanatic dies. It's not that well-timed because there's no actual good targets for it. It's just going to start chipping away at stuff. But with the missile this close to firing, I think it's pretty hard for it to be bad. Like, it's going to be a boosted Obelisk covering the middle of the map as the last, like, 10 seconds of the missile, or last 5 seconds of the missile, or whatever. Obviously, it's going to be stored for a long time, so it's going to be longer than that, which means the Obelisk is going to get even more value. Now, it's not really value. Value's the wrong word. I should have said tempo, because it's about spending money to remove your opponent's stuff from the field. Like, it's going to kill Fanatics, and it's going to do it slowly. But it's an additional piece of firepower that Alicia didn't have access to. Like, this is what I always say about commander powers. You should make commander power when you can't make units. When you have a lot of spare money, and you can't make any units, that's the best time to use commander power. So she gets additional power out of her economy, which she couldn't use on units, because she had no ability to build units because she's pop cap. So this Obelisk ends up being really good. And if we look at Agent's been playing Oksana, I don't think he's used the boost at all. So already you can see the Kayn has been better than the Oksana, because the Kayn has done something and the Oksana has done nothing. So it is just strictly better. And this Obelisk ends up winning her the missile just through attrition. Like, it just eventually grinds down enough units that it wins the missile. And she got like a full Obelisk boosted, pretty much, for that entire missile. been playing Oksana like Jade. Yeah, exactly, Beck. Like, the Oksana, I don't think he's I literally don't think I've seen him boost anything. I might be wrong about that, but even if he has boosted, it's been so low impact, I haven't even noticed it. Alright, now this is an interesting fight going on here. As soon as the missile fires, Agent moves all of his stuff quite aggressively forwards, because after the Obelisk went down, he actually had the better army, and he wants to make pressure on Alicia's Harvester. If Alicia doesn't do a good defense there, he'll go and kill the Harvester. Like, if Alicia's a weaker player, he moves down, he kills this Harvester, then he goes back to the pads. Alicia is a strong player, she blocks well, and you can see there's a lot of these stealth tank dances going on, because a lot of this mirror match comes down to Shades and stealth tanks. Like, the decks you see there again, the decks are full, absolutely full of expensive burst units with no hit points. Even Fanatics kind of come under that category, because they do a lot of damage but have no hit points. So anytime you can, like, take out an opponent's unit without it doing much, it's a huge difference because of the amount of money. Now, you see, Agent has 260 Tiberium, but he has no Commander Power Sync. He only has Oksana, which, as I said before, we haven't seen him really use. Alicia, she also had about 200 Tib, but she can pop an Obelisk. This is a really good Obelisk, because this Obelisk is going to kill this Stealth Tank, or it should kill it, unless the Stealth Tank gets out of vision. The only way Agent can save this Stealth Tank, you know Alicia immediately targeted the Stealth Tank as well, because she's not new to this game. The only way this survives is if it gets out of vision. And it looks like Agent has messed up here because he's not moving it away. If he kept driving it away, he would keep it alive. I think this is going to snipe it though. No, she actually didn't retarget. Wow, that's insane. Oh, that's a misplay. She could have got the stealth tank there. So anyway, Agent immediately responds by going Shade to kill the Obelisk. He wants to go Shades anyway, to be honest, because they're so good against Nod. And then Alicia also goes Shade. Not because there's a target for it, because there really wasn't that many targets. There was like Wheels and Fanatics. You can kill Wheels, but it's kind of whatever. She just went Shade because he went Shade. And you don't want to be the guy fighting Shades, or girl, fighting Shades with ground. It's just the worst. So you just go Shade to force your opponent to also fight Shade with ground. You can just sit here. You see how, like, these two Shades, she doesn't have a, like, she could send lasers in, but they're not great against Fanatics. Like, you'll see this a lot, actually, that good players, like high tier players, don't make that many lasers. Because you only really want to make lasers when you're behind, or when you don't have another answer to something, because they're kind of weak units. Like, as for a pop cap, they're not that strong. They're really strong for 20 Tiberium, but for a pop cap, they're not that strong. So neither player wants to make laser. But you put a Shade in the middle, and there's nothing else in these Nod decks that you can really make. So you see here, Alicia sends in a Fanatic to die, and you see this was really good micro there. She had the Fanatic moving through, not moving onto this tile. Because the Fanatic's moving through the tile, it doesn't claim the tile, which allows her to move the Stealth Tank into it. Therefore, the Fanatic goes through, absorbs the Shade shot, boosts everything, and the Stealth Tank comes in exactly the same time and kills the Shade. Which means the Shade doesn't have time to retreat. That was really good micro. Like, it's easy to miss, but that was a really, really good play by Alicia. Now, obviously, Shade comes in and punishes the Stealth Tank, and you're not even up. Like, your Stealth Tank costs 100, the Shade costs 60. But, again, you're not looking for cost, you're looking for tempo. You have to get rid of the Shades if you want to keep playing the game. You can't win the game while there's Shades there. So Alicia doesn't care that she trades 100 for 60. She cares about getting rid of the Shade to buy herself time and space to move up. Which she then does with lasers, and, you know, this Shade goes over here. If this Stealth Tank hadn't been loaded, Alicia just wins the game there. But it had 2 missiles, so it takes it out. Again, Obelisk comes down, which just starts chipping away at stuff in the middle. So here goes some Wheels. Again, a really nice play. I think she was trying to tank the Stealth Tank with the Wheels, but she got it, she messed it up a tiny bit, and the other unit got killed instead, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it was a nice play, even so. And here you see the lasers come in, and this is really critical, because no one wants to make lasers. But if everyone's making Shades and Stealth Tanks and Bikes, having a laser on the middle basically wins you the game instantly. Like, there's no way, look at Agent's forces, there's no way he can fight a laser. Like, this laser is insane right now. It just holds the middle completely, and here comes a Fanatic boost. Finally, we see the boost do something. And then again, this Stealth Tank maneuver here was insanely good. This was like, I noticed this when I was watching the tournament as well. But obviously, like, you know, I wasn't casting, so I couldn't point it out. But this Stealth Tank play was so good. She moved the Stealth Tank in, then out, so the enemy Stealth Tank started shooting as the laser was coming across. So the Stealth Tank retargeted the lasers, and it's boosted, so there's no way Agent can respond in time. And maybe if he's paying exact attention, he can. But it starts firing boosted at this Stealth Tank, which he wants. And then the Stealth Tank moves out, so this retargets the laser. And then Agent isn't paying attention because, you know, who is, like, look at the spot. He needs to be working on this Fanatic. That's what he needs to be looking at. but it fires one missile at the laser, doesn't finish off Alicia's stealth tank, which then immediately takes the pad. And you can see Fanatics are killing the laser, so that if the laser was to move across, he wouldn't lose control of this pad. But because one errant stealth tank missile went on the lasers, Alicia's stealth tank can move in, taking the missile, which is insanely good play. So there were two moments in that game where Alicia made phenomenal micro plays that won her that game. Like, she played that game really, really fucking well. And again, the Kayn obelisk was way more impactful than the Oksana was. The obelisk was relevant like for 2 missiles, maybe all 3. And Oksana did basically nothing. Okay, so this is game number 4. It's now 2-2 because Alicia started 1-0 up. Agent is playing the same deck because this is basically the only deck Agent plays. Like, Agent plays this deck 99% of his tournament games. Agent just finds the best deck and plays it always. That's all Agent does. Perfectly reasonable strategy. Nothing wrong with that. Alicia has gone for a triple air Rockworm deck. Now, this is interesting because I think Alicia's deck is pretty heavily favored in this matchup, generally speaking. Agent's deck is not great versus Rockworm. He only has Shade, and that obviously dies to Phantom. Alicia's main combat unit is going to be Shade, and Agent's deck is kind of weak to Shade. So I do think Alicia should be favored in this matchup. It's also a good choice if you think Agent's just going to keep bringing this Nod deck over and over, which he does. Also, Alicia opens lasers because when you see Agent playing Oksana, it's basically always this deck. If Agent had played a Militant deck, you get pretty punished for opening lasers, but he basically never plays Militant decks. Like, he will sometimes, but very rarely. So it's pretty safe for her to open lasers. One thing I am a little confused by, though, I always think it's a little weird to go Militants against Fanatics if you're playing a laser opening, because you could have just opened Militants and kept them alive until the Fanatics showed up and you'd be in exactly the same spot. Like, double laser Militant versus double wheel Fanatic is an extremely common matchup when you have barracks versus war factory openings. So if you open the Rifleman and then you still end up in Rifle Laser versus Wheel Fanatic, it's kind of the same, but you don't get punked by an enemy Militant opening. Now, of course, the downside is if you open Militants, the wheels have map control. You can't, like, if you open Militants, there's too many wheels for you to push up, and you have to wait for your second laser to move in, and then the Fanatics come out immediately. So if you know your opponent's opening wheels, it is better to open lasers. And obviously, Alicia doesn't have the money to go into Catship when the Fanatics come out, so she goes Militant instead. And it's a good play. You see the Militants are holding off this Fanatic. They're not killing it. That's not what it's there for. It's just there to stop the Fanatics from dominating the lasers. Alright, so Alicia then goes second half. We're at, like, she's had some map control here, which is what you want to do on a double harvester deck. You want to stall the missile as much as possible. If you go blind double harvester, you can't stall at all. So we're already past a minute for this first missile. Agent responds immediately to the Catship with bikes, but he doesn't dodge the cloud. Big misplay there. Buys Alicia a lot of time. Like, he goes stealth tank to kill this Catship, and like, Alicia might even win the first missile with this block. Oh wow, she does. And you see there, like, she barely wins it. Like, this guy is almost dead. This guy's literally just died. But she wins first missile because Agent didn't dodge the cloud with the bikes. And that is huge. Because she's playing double harvester and she's just won the first missile. And that is where you want to... If you're playing double harvester and you win first missile, you're so heavily favored. Because the way that you beat double harvester with these more aggressive decks, like combined arms, aggro, mid-range, whatever, is by winning 2 missiles. Like, if you lose one of the missiles, you're normally done. So, as we move towards second missile, this is where Alicia doesn't really care about the map. She wants to defend our harvesters, but that's all she really cares about. Now, it's important to remember this is Agent's map pick as well. Agent chose Flooded Fields because he just lost the last game on Rorschach. So he chose Flooded Fields, which is a very good double harvester map. And Alicia is going to punish him for that choice because she's gone for this Rockworm deck. That is very good against what Agent is playing, and is very good on this map. So here comes the first Rockworm. Chances are, with the amount of map control Alicia has here, she probably doesn't win second missile. I don't remember this. I don't think I saw this game live, so I don't know if she wins this second missile. But I would say probably not. She has 1 Rockworm and a couple of air units. She has no Phantom for incoming Shades. Agent has great map control. This is normally where, as the non-double harvester deck, you just try and close out the game and win the missile and the game is over. And the reason that you can kill the first tech unit is because it has to make a big play. The first tech unit has to get on the pads and it has to kill things, or the game is over. But Alicia won first missile, so she has the luxury of ignoring this one Like, she's fighting for it, but she doesn't really care. And here you see the missile fires. This is where the game is over if Agent doesn't lose first missile. So if Agent moves those bikes and dodges the cat ship blowing them up, he doesn't lose the bottom pad control. He doesn't need a stealth tank to kill the cat ship because the bikes do it. He wins first missile and he wins the game here. But of course he lost first missile because of that misplay with the bikes. And this is the thing about Rivals. One misplay like that can kill you. It really can. And it does. Because now we're going into third missile against a Rockworm deck. This is where the game should be over. Like, if you're Agent, this is where the game should be over for you. You should just won the game, move on with life. Everyone's going, oh, Double Harvester sucks, it's unplayable. But if you lose that missile, you end up in this spot where now you have to kill 3 Rockworms. So far, Agent has killed 0 Rockworms. Now he has to kill 3. Now he's killed 1. But the pressure that Rockworms put on the Harvester, look how much money Agent has. He has 60, and he has 3 Shades. Like, his entire army is now comprised of Shades. So this one Phantom is going to be backbreaking. And because the Harvester is dead, he doesn't have enough to make more Shades. And this is what you're supposed to really do as a tech player. You go and just kill your opponent's economy. Because then they can't, even if they can kill your tech units with their lower tier units, which isn't even a given, a lot of the time you just can't. A lot of the time you just don't have an answer to the Flame Tank or the Rockworm because they're just so big. But now you get to this point where you have no money, Agent has no money, no ability to harvest again. Alicia is just parking outside of his base so he can't harvest. She has infinite money because it's double Harvester past 2 minute 30. She has 200 Tiberium despite having 2 Rockworms on the field. And I think she's lost like 3 or 4 Rockworms now. So she's lost a lot of Rockworms, but it doesn't matter because she has infinite money because that's how Rivals works in the late game. So she pulls her halves, she pulls her Rockworms. It's too late for Agent to start harvesting again, and she takes the game. And this all comes down to that bike. That bike that fired... Oh, I don't know what this Rockworm's doing. This Rockworm was bugging out a little bit. Luckily, it ends up not costing Alicia the game, but it did bug out pretty hard there. Yeah, so anyway, that bike, not dodging the cloud, lost Agent first missile, which leads to this third missile situation where he basically can't win. Alright, so now we're at 3-2 to Alicia. It's actually 2-2, but Alicia started 1-0 up. Agent has chosen Blind Spot, which is a very interesting choice. Blind Spot is a very weird map. Now, based on the maps Alicia chose, she chose Open Water and she chose Rorschach. And then Agent chose Flooded Fields and Lost. He's gone for a completely different map. Like, this is about as far away as you can get. This and Orbit are the 2 maps that are least like those maps. Those maps, Open Water and Rorschach especially, all the pads are together. Everyone hangs out on the pads. The fighting is all in one location. This and Orbit, completely spread out. Free pad map, very spread out. What's interesting here is Alicia is now... It's now match point for Alicia. If she wins the tournament. Agent is playing Kayn instead of Oksana. So probably because of the Rockworms. He lost to Rockworm. He wants Kayn to kill tech units. So he's playing Kayn. Now, what's interesting is Alicia chose to play the same deck, which I think is a good choice, because Air is really good on this map. She's just won with Rockworms. Agent basically never changes deck. He hasn't. He's playing the same deck just with Kayn. So you can assume that you're going to be in an okay spot playing the Rockworm deck again. What's interesting, though, is the way the game played out. Alicia won because of a kind of a lucky first missile, right? Like, it wasn't lucky. It was, there's obviously a lot of skill involved. But it was kind of lucky, right? Like, Agent didn't move his bikes. They got killed by a catship cloud. If that doesn't happen, he probably just wins the game 2 missiles to 0. Alicia probably... I mean, she hasn't had time to analyze her game, so she probably doesn't even... It probably doesn't even occur to her that's what happened. She's just like, yeah, cool, I won first missile. Agent sucks. I'm great, amazing. So she probably hasn't considered that actually the way the matchup went wasn't that good for her. Really. Like, it was a close game and Agent almost won it. So, first missile... The lasers come down and fight the wheels. The Fanatics come out early. The Militants don't stop them this time. This time they clean up on the lasers. So there aren't lasers taking control of the pads. Last time Alicia won with 2 one-man lasers on the pads. Now she has no lasers. She has nothing on this top pad. Shade comes out, but you can see it's going to be too late. She's not even on this pad, so it doesn't matter if she kills these bikes. First missile goes to Agent very quickly. You've got 56-second missile, and the Shade dies. This is extremely relevant because it's a 60 cost unit. Alicia is not double harvested yet either. The way the start of this game has gone is extremely different from the last one. The last one, Alicia went laser opening. She controlled the map so that it didn't charge that much. then she went second Harvester, then she went Catship. This game, she has gone one Harvester straight into the Shade because there was so much more pressure on the pads. Agent, having lost her tech, is like, well, screw that. I'm going to be really, really aggressive on the missile charge. I don't want another 1 minute 30 first missile. So he's very aggressive. Alicia has not had a chance to get her second Harvester. She's nowhere near that 230 when you suddenly have infinite money as a double Harvester player. She's not even a double Harvester player right now. She's single Harv. Probably thinking she's under too much pressure to go double Harvester. Or she thinks I can win anyway with triple Nod Air because it's so good versus Nod. It's unclear to me what's going through her head at this point. But yeah, she's kind of getting wrecked a little bit, to be honest. Like, the Shades are not dominant enough against the Fnatic bike because of the way Agent is playing the Fnatic bike. The Fnatics are always at the front, and this is how you play Fnatic decks. You put all of your units together, you put the Fnatics at the front line, and then anytime something comes that can kill Fnatics that isn't infantry, you move your vehicles up. So that is basically what Agent is doing. You see here, he goes for the free pads, and again, this is a full hit point bike squad. Shade can't even kill this. He's got all 3 pads. The game is over incredibly quickly. Alicia never went double Harvester. She's not remotely close to that Rockworm. She spams some Shades in desperation, but it's nowhere near enough. And, well, actually, to be fair, this Shade did kill this bike, so maybe if this Shade got here a little sooner. But this is basically how the other game would have gone if Agent hadn't punked that first missile and misplayed his bikes. He would have just won 2 games, two missiles to 0 very quickly. Alright, so this is the match point now. It is now 3-3. Alicia is really 3-2 because Alicia started 1-0 up, best of 7. But it's 3-3. Alicia chose the map. Alicia chose Scorpion Tail. Interestingly enough, she didn't go for... This is now a map where the double Harv is pretty good, but she has not gone for it this time. They are, in fact, playing exact mirror. So Alicia's gone back to the Kayn deck. Agent is now also playing Kayn instead of Oksana. I think that, given how the games went, and given the fact that Agent transitioned into Kayn, it seems kind of clear to me that he's now decided Kayn is better than Oksana. Maybe there are certain matchups he likes Oksana way more, and Alicia just isn't playing those matchups, so it ends up being... He ends up going Kayn because of that. I'm not sure. I don't know what his thinking was, but it looks to me like he's just realized that Kayn is better. Because Oksana just isn't very good, honestly, in the deck. At least that's my opinion. I don't know what Agent's thoughts are. Maybe he'll let us know. I don't know. So anyway, Alicia goes opening bikes. Opening bikes is a little weird. The wheel opening isn't even that bad in a bike mirror, because the wheel opening gives you something to absorb bike shots, and a wheel and a bike beats a bike 2v1. So the wheel opening is not that bad. It's also only 10 tib if you lose it. Like you can see, Alicia has basically microed really well to kill that wheel for free. But if she had taken any shots in return, it would not have been worth the exchange. So again, Alicia plays really well here to do this. So now she's 3 bikes to 2. We have a big bike engagement. Now what's interesting here is where they put their bike missiles. Now you see Alicia fires 6 bike missiles at this squadron, putting it down to a 1-man squad immediately. Then this squadron fires at this squadron. Agent splits his shots as much as he can. You see, it's now 2-2. This is going to take 3 missiles. So Agent is now on 3-2-1. Alicia is on 2-2-2. They both have 6 bikes. But Agent is ahead, because he's gonna lose he has a full squad and a 1-man squad. You don't want to be on 1-man squads. So I guess you could kind of say it's a tie, because the 2-man squads are still relevant. However, the way bike mirrors work, it takes 3 bike missiles to kill a bike. So these 2 bikes are not going to kill this guy. As you watch here, see? He's on like 1 hit point. You need 3 bike missiles to kill the bike. So now she has to fire a 3rd volley from this squad to finish this bike. Or a 4th, really, because this one has already fired it as well. So she has to fire 4 volleys effectively. This bike is now irrelevant for Agent. He's just ignoring this one. He's happy for this to die. So if you watch how this bike mirror goes, you see Agent actually comes out pretty far ahead. It's 4 bikes to 4 bikes. But Agent's about to go down to 1 squad, and Alicia will still be on 2. And that is better for Agent at this stage of the game, because these extra squads mean Alicia can't build another unit. So you see Alicia is actually up 1 unit, because of the fact that Agent's wheel died for free at the start. But if you look at the cooldown on units, Agent's is faster. Agent can make his next unit sooner. That's how Rivals works. New bike comes out. He probably went bike because he was expecting wheels, but Alicia goes Fnatic instead. And most importantly, Agent has taken map control. Because Alicia's units are all damaged, her lasers had to run away from the Fnatics. So Agent now has map control. And as you approach the end of the missile, being on the pads is critically important. You see Alicia gets onto this one, but she's not on the bottom one. And this again, you don't want to be the person who goes lasers first. Because all of these lasers, Alicia made these lasers, brought them out, ran them away from Fnatics, and now the missile is fired. I think they fired one shot at a bike squadron before the missile fired. Now, if she was able to get rid of these Fnatics, they would be very useful and they would be the dominant unit on the field. But with the Fnatics there, they don't do anything. Now, obviously, she does kill the Fnatics here, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that the lasers are the dominant unit on the field, because controlling the map doesn't matter anymore. Like, once you're at this stage of missile charge, like 5%, controlling the map isn't particularly relevant. Obviously, it's better than not controlling the map, but it doesn't really matter. This is the stage of the game when both players are looking for good economy trades. So Agent sends his damaged bikes off to Alicia's Harvester to make her kill them, because he doesn't want them anymore. And if she ignores them, then he can probably kill a Harvester, which means he's ahead in the economy game. But at this stage, both players are just looking to get ahead in economy. So Alicia goes Stealth Tank. I talked earlier in one of the first games about why I don't really like Stealth Tanks in bike mirrors. I think it's better to go Shade, honestly. I think Alicia would have been way better off if she'd gone Shade instead of Stank. But I think she's not as comfortable with this deck as Agent is. I think Agent is more likely to go Shade in that spot than Stealth Tank. Well, he goes Stealth Tank here because this one was an easy kill. And a Shade won't one-shot it, so that's why he went Stealth Tank. Because this guy was blocked in. You see, he almost kills it. And this Stealth Tank here, this is why I don't like Stealth Tanks in the bike mirror. It's killed one bike squadron and it's almost dead. Which is really awkward. But Alicia is ahead in economy slightly here. She goes for the Obelisk. Obelisk is going to kill this Stealth Tank, hopefully. Let's see if it escapes. Again, Agent doesn't... If he ran that Stealth Tank away, he could get out of vision. And the Obelisk would retarget something else. But he parked it in range of this bike squadron. He could have saved that. I think he didn't realize she targeted it, or he thought Stealth was going to save it. But that's not how Obelisk works. Once Obelisk is locked on, you have to get out of vision for it to not shoot you. And he loses this Stealth Tank, and this immediately pays back for the Obelisk. The Obelisk is 110, the Stealth Tank is 100, so this Obelisk has basically paid itself back. Here, the Stealth Tank is going to trade for these bikes, most likely. Yep, there it goes. But now Alicia has control and an Obelisk, and this is super relevant. This Obelisk is gonna give her more firepower in the fight. I don't know if it's going to be enough, though. I actually haven't seen this game. It looks like it might not be enough. So the Obelisk doesn't do enough. Alicia can't get back on these pads, and it looks like Agent's going to take it here. Oh, hang on, wait, hang on. This bike's here. Oh, and Agent doesn't block. Oh, dear. Agent misses a block there, which is huge. All right, this could now go either way. Agent, you see, this is really good play by Alicia. So Alicia fires a volley at this bike. Once a volley has been fired at this bike, she wins this matchup now. She has two bikes and a Fnatic versus a bike and a wheel. She knows she wins this matchup. This bike squadron isn't needed up here anymore. But down here, she's losing, so she needs to replace the bike that's down here. So before this bike dies and Agent gets a chance to block her out, she brings the bike squadron down to hold this pad. Really nice micro play there from Alicia. And now you see Agent go straight into the Shades. And the reason he can afford Shade and she can't is she made an Obelisk and he didn't. So the Shade comes in, cleans those up. Alicia has to go lasers because she's, you know, it's the best unit against the Shades. And she goes Stealth Tank because she needs something fast that can actually catch the Shade. Not sure what Agent's doing here with this Shade. I think that was a misplay. It's going to just die now. Yeah, huge misplay from Agent there with the Shade. Should have just killed the bikes. Not sure it's enough though. But you can see here the lasers, getting the lasers on the pad. Alicia now has gone from, what, like 15 seconds ago, it looked like she was dead. She now has complete control of the map and Agent has nothing. So yeah, go back and watch that exchange again because Alicia just schooled Agent there super hard. It really looked like Agent had that locked in, and then Alicia, really that bike play was huge as well, with killing up here and then moving down. And you saw how Agent just ended up on a bunch of damaged squads, and that's why he loses that missile. He has like 4 one-man squads, and when they're all cleaned up, he doesn't have time to get back on the map again. Now this right here is classic Agent play. Once all his units are dead, he has time to rebuild all his units. He has a Shade out, he just makes Fnatics. Because this is what the Fnatic deck wants to do. You just want to have infinite Fnatics front line, and something to kill things that kill Fnatics, like wheels. In this matchup, it's wheels. So he wants Shade behind his Fnatics, so that if wheels show up, he can kill them with Shades. But he wants to just frontline a ton of Fnatics. That is absolutely what you want to do with this deck. So now it's a Fnatic on Fnatic fight. He doesn't want to keep doing that forever. So he makes a single Wheel Squadron. This forces Alicia to start using her Stealth Tank, which if you watch here... Okay, so what Agent was hoping was going to happen there, he was moving his Shade in to attack the Stealth Tank, hoping that Alicia would kill all of the wheels, which would clear this spot for the Shade. So he was hoping Alicia was going to go here, kill the wheels. Shade could then move in and immediately kill the Stealth Tank, but Alicia sees that coming and she retreats the Stealth Tank. Is it going to be enough? No, because this Shade is boosted. So the Shade takes out the Stealth Tank, but Alicia has another Stealth Tank. I'm not going to say she doesn't care, because she's broke. She cares a lot. Like, she can't Obelisk now. Agent, on the other hand, has a little bit of spare cash. Missile's pretty close to firing. This is a pretty good Obelisk now. Alicia has to move into it repeatedly to try and take this pads back. So this Obelisk is going to be huge. And you see how Agent is a master of the Fnatic mirror. Alicia is better micro than Agent, I believe. Having watched these games as well, Alicia has done repeatedly very cute micro tricks to win herself missiles and games. I think she is better at micro. But Agent is more experienced in the Fnatic mirror. He knows which units to make, and I think he understands better what you want the board state to look like as a Fnatic player. So he's able to have taken control of this middle area. The Shade comes in, Stealth Tank's going to kill it immediately, but again, Agent is getting Fnatics on the pads. And you see here, he didn't retarget the Stealth Tank, which is a misplay. This Obelisk could have killed the Stealth Tank. There, he does it there. But you see how, like, honestly, I mean, like, no disrespect to Agent, he's the second best player in the world, in my opinion. I believe that Alicia is better at playing Rivals, but I think Agent is better at playing Fnatics. So I think ending up in a mirror match with Agent's best deck is really not where Alicia wanted to be. Because although I think she plays the game better, I think Agent plays this deck specifically better. And there you see he gets the block here, and that's it. That's game over, and Agent takes the series 4-3 and does take down the tournament. So there you go. Agent does win it. Pretty good games, like really good games. There was some really, really good plays by Alicia during those sets. Agent's play is just solid. Like Agent's play is just he's just like a very high level, but like a flat, very high level. I wouldn't say that he ever makes these insane technical plays, but his overall play is extremely good. Alicia makes these like very strong technical plays that are very cute and win her a lot of games. And I do believe Alicia is actually the better player still. But Agent is the better Fnatic player. Agent is the better Fnatic Stank player. They ended up in a mirror match of Fnatic Stank, and Agent came out on top of it. I mean, Alicia did win a Fnatic Stank mirror when she had Kayn and he had Oksana. But I think Kayn was really relevant. And once he played Kayn, he ended up winning them. So there you go. Agent wins it. Both players ridiculously good. Like, both players are really, really good at the game. Like, insanely good. I came third in this tournament, and I don't think I could have beaten either of them. In fact, I lost to Agent. I lost like 5 games to Agent in the tournament. He 5-0'd me. We had some really intense games, but he 5-0'd me. And I think Alicia probably would have done the same. So yeah, both players much better than me, but yeah. I think Alicia is slightly better, but I think Agent is better with that deck. So anyway, this was Bike Rush's first tournament. He's doing a whole tournament series this year. He's doing like 12 tournaments. There's going to be like one a month, culminating in a massive 1K tournament at the end of the year. So that's going to be really exciting. I will put links to Bike Rush's Discord where you can find out about the tournament. And I'll talk to Bike Rush and see if he wants to put anything else in the comments. So yeah, I'll put links to whatever. There'll be one tournament a month. They're all hosted on Bike Rush's Twitch. Sponsored by Gazarius, the true hero of the Rivals community, who sponsors huge amounts of tournaments. Gazarius is an absolute hero. Also sponsors Twitch streamers. The guy's just great. He's an amazing, amazing guy. So yeah, Gazarius and Bike Rush hosting this tournament series every month. You should check it out. Don't want to miss them live. And I just thought that these finals were really good and really interesting. So I thought I would do this and go over the finals games in detail for you guys. The one thing I will say is a little sad that after so many nerfs, Fnatic Stank is still the meta deck. I'm a little surprised, honestly. I didn't think it was gonna be. I thought that we were done with Fnatic Stank being the best deck. And maybe Fnatic Stank is not the best deck. Maybe Agent is just only plays that deck and he's so good. And then Alicia just like, she often mirrors people when they're winning. That's something I've noticed her doing. Because she just wants to outplay them, because she can outplay basically everyone. which is true. She does outplay him a lot. But his like baseline level with that deck is so high. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that breakdown. Don't forget to check out the rest of Bike Crush's tournaments, and I will see you all guys later.